Hello, everyone. I am Megan, creator and coach of Mindful Motion, here to share a little bit of my story on how I ended up where I am right now. So, when I started in the gym, all I wanted was number one, to have some glutes. As soon as I learned that you could grow glutes, I was like, I want those because I was flat as a pancake. And number two, I wanted to be strong as heck. Little sub number three, I wanted to be super skinny and petite, but we're over that now. We want to be big and strong. I trained for years pursuing these things, and all that I was left with was pain. Pain in my shoulders, pain in my knees, pain in my back from top to bottom, and mostly pain in my hips. And guess what? My glutes were still flat as a pancake. So, this is when I realized that I was in trouble because I was in my early 20s and it felt like I was living in the body of an 80-year-old woman. And I refused to accept that as my reality for the rest of my life because I knew I wouldn't make it. I can't live my life this way. So I started investing a lot of time, money, and effort into mobility to solve these issues. I saw so many different bodywork professionals, from chiropractors, massage therapists, physical therapists. I even went down the Reiki rabbit hole. I was trying energy work to release tension in my body. And I always say these people have valuable things to offer, but I never got my long term solution. And the fact that all of them had something different to say drove me crazy. Like my dorsiflexion on my left ankle, my right psoas, my this, my that. And okay, but how are we going to fix these things beyond just doing these bodywork corrective exercises? And I didn't know at the time to ask that question. And I didn't know. I did what I was told to do. I followed programs. I was spending hours a day doing tissue work, stretching, and these corrective exercises. And I was seeing improvements. I was. It took me 9 months to get pain free from the beginning of that to my pain free spot. But even once I reached that pain free spot, I was not 100% confident. I did not trust my body. I hired a coach and got into the CrossFit realm. And we started lifting heavy stuff. We got into back squatting frequently. Back squats really irritated my hips. So eventually, my coach had to take those out of the program completely. And I was stuck in this loop of tons of mobility, tons of mobility, tons of mobility. Finally, I'm pain free again, back to training. I'm hurting again. Tons of mobility, back to training. And I kept doing mobility while I was training. It's not like I stopped that completely because I knew that I had to. And there was just certain areas of my body that I could not get right. And it just felt like no matter how hard I tried, for lack of better words, I was just shoveling shit against the tide. Luckily, I'm a person who refuses to give up. I stayed in this loop for 6 years in pain. And I had been on social medias, YouTube, Instagram, looking up different videos, and I kept seeing this idea that mobility is strength, but I could not grasp the concept. I didn't understand. So it took me working with more coaches, taking more certifications, reading more books on my own to find the solution that I use now, which is a combination of those things that I was doing in the beginning: tissue work, which is rolling out, passive stretching to open joint capsule space, the corrective exercises at the end, and end range strength training, like literally strength training your joints at end ranges in ways that we don't typically train them. And not only this, but I had already been working on the rib to pelvis relationship before, but I didn't realize to the extent of how important that really is. If you cannot stack your rib cage in your pelvis and you don't have a strong 360 core around that, the front, the sides, and the back, then your hips are going to have to do so much more work. Hips get tight, hips get glued together, they lose range of motion, and then guess what? The knee has to start acting like a hip. It's no wonder why my body was a mess. And when that rib cage and pelvis are not working in sync, your shoulder blades can't move and glide, and then your shoulders end up having issues too. So, putting all of this together, along with movement efficiency, and I finally got to a point where I knew I was in the clear. I knew I was actually headed in the right direction. I knew that what I was doing was working. And I made my way out for good. And it didn't just get rid of the pain, it didn't just manage the pain that I was having. It eliminated the tension through my body. It changed my fascia lines. It changed my posture. It changed who I am as a person, because emotional anatomy matters too. The way that I think of myself affects the posture and structure of my body. And the posture and structure of my body changes the way that I think about myself. It's a game of chicken or the egg, but they both very much influence each other. So I started to view myself as, okay, I'm strong. I'm confident in my body. Being confident in my body made me confident within myself. And then getting into dialing in all of my movements, my squat, my deadlift, my clean, my snatch, the movements that I loved to do the most, and all clicked. Now I'm in my 30s. I'm 32 right now, and nothing hurts ever. Occasionally I get lines of tension, but that's the power of knowledge, is knowing what to do when I do have those lines of tension so that it doesn't turn into pain. Understanding how to load my body in repetitive lifts so that it doesn't turn into pain. Understanding that I need to train my joints in full ranges of motion outside of your traditional full ranges of motion. Like, people think that doing just a squat is enough to maintain full capacity of the hip, and it's not true, because your body will adapt to just what it needs to do that squat and nothing beyond it, and then you run into issues then too. All of this, at the end of the day, all of the time, those 6 years, the tens of thousands of dollars, the tears, the effort, every single bit of it made it worth it, because now I'm free. I have freedom within my body. That is priceless. If you're like me, if you're where I was, and you want to get this solved, shoot me a message on Instagram and I will send you 3 of my favorite hip mobility exercises that will help not only your hips, but your back and your knees too.